Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Train Station. As always, I am your host, A Train. It's been a while since I've been on here. It's been about 2 weeks since I've had any content. I know I said I was going to do some content that I haven't. Unfortunately, it's all kind of just gotten a little crazy. So, I know I promised some more NFL free agency news, but it has been just so ridiculously crazy. Haven't really been able to keep up with it. If you aren't following me on Twitch at the Train Station Podcast, I did stream Apex and Halo Infinite a few days ago for about an hour and 25 minutes or so. That is currently up on the Twitch channel. Go ahead and check that out if you want to see some below average gameplay. But today I am here to bring you guys a sports topic. There was big news out of the NFL today about a rule change, and I don't necessarily like it or hate it. Obviously, I'm on the fence about it because when I explain what the rule is, it makes it feel more like, it makes it feel more like college. And I don't like when you are trying to make the pros more like college. Shouldn't you try and make college more like the pros? Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So today the NFL announced changes to their overtime rule was passed. They've been bringing the idea around for a while now that both teams should be able to possess the ball. For a while it was kind of already in place, but I will get to that in a moment. So the current before the rule change, it was the team that wins the coin toss. If they go down and score a touchdown, that's it. Game's over. However, if the team that got the coin flip first scores a field goal, the other team gets a chance to possess. And it put emphasis on the defense. This new rule change, and I have it right here. I'm gonna read that word for word. New playoff, and this is just for the playoffs. The regular season is still the same, which I will also get into because ties in the regular season are stupid, and I will, like I said, I will get into that later. But here's the new overtime playoff rule. Both teams will have the opportunity to possess the ball in overtime. If the score is tied after each team had possession, then the next score wins. If the team kicking off to start the overtime period manages to get a safety or on the receiving team's initial possession, the team that kicked off the game wins. So basically, if you get a defensive stop, you win the game, which is basically what it's always been. Now, I know there's people that like this rule, and there's people that hate this rule. I see both sides of it, and that's why I'm kind of on the fence about it, because it doesn't really change anything for me. I've always been a fan of more football, so making this rule gives us more football. I'm okay with that. But I also understand the people that don't like it. We've been, dealing with it for years. The team that wins the kickoff, 80% of the time, the team that wins the coin toss wins the overtime period. Now, how is that fair, you might ask? I mean, the defense gets paid millions of dollars they have one job, and that's to stop the other team from scoring. So those that don't like the rule, I can understand where they're coming from, because this new rule puts emphasis on offense, which is what the league is really driven towards now. It's definitely driving to be a more offensive league, and it really puts even less pressure now on the defense than there already was. There was pressure to get a stop so that the team doesn't win right off the bat. Now, you can give up an 80-yard touchdown and your team will get the ball back. I never really seen why it was a big rule that needed to be contemplated to begin with. But I guess after the Bills lost last year when Josh Allen didn't get to touch the ball, the year before that, forget who it was, didn't get to touch the ball. Patrick Mahomes against the Patriots didn't get to possess the ball. And there was a stat going around on Twitter that said teams that win the coin toss are 10-2 all time in the overtime period when they get the ball first. I mean, the numbers pretty much say that, but are you really fixing anything? Just because both teams get the ball, still have problems. Because let's say, for example, let's go back to last year. Let's go back to the Bills and the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes goes down and scores. All right, Josh Allen goes down and scores. Now we have a tie game, now it continues. Kansas City scores again. Game over. People are going to complain that Buffalo didn't get another chance to tie it. So it's like, is it ever going to end about the possession rule? Because eventually, now that people have complained enough, the NFL's looked into it and changed it. Now what if that scenario happens? What if the teams just continue to go back and forth scoring? There's always going to be people that are like, well, why didn't Josh Allen get to possess the ball again for a second time like Patrick Mahomes did? They're only thinking about it from an offensive-minded standpoint. Josh Allen wins the game if his defense, who was supposedly the number one defense in the league last year, steps up and does their job and doesn't let a team go 80 yards down their throat. The emphasis on defense is non-existent at this point. Why play defense? Let's just have 11 offensive guys go out there and run plays, and you put defensive decoys out there, because that's pretty much what they're telling you is defense does not matter. The rule, I think, was fine the way it was. Because, and like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people don't realize that the rule was already that both teams can possess the ball. Both teams could have a fair shot to win the game. If the team who wins the coin toss gets a field goal, why is your defense giving up touchdowns then? If you stopped them all game, why are you giving up touchdowns in overtime? Figure out a way to stop it. These guys get paid bajillions of dollars to be able to stop the offense. Now the league is shifting to an offensive role, and a lot of the, the penalties and the flags and everything are shifting towards the offense's favor. But that still doesn't excuse a team letting, a defensive NFL team letting you go 85 yards, 80 yards, 85 yards, 75 yards down your throat in the first possession of overtime to end the game. If teams would play defense, get their defense to stop them and hold them to either a punt or a field goal, then that team gets a chance to win. I don't understand what's so hard about that. People are saying both teams should possess the ball. Both teams have the ability to possess the ball before the rule change. It was just the defense did not do their job. Why is it, is high-scoring offensive games really all that fun? They can be, but they can also be boring. Just like good defensive games can also be really, really fun and really, really boring. Years back when Alabama beat LSU 9-6 was an entertaining, low-scoring game. There's been other games, 0-0, 3, like 10-7. Wasn't that exciting of a game. But it was a good defensive, boring battle. But there's no emphasis on defense anymore. And honestly, I really feel bad for defenses even more now. I know I've been saying that they get paid millions of dollars to do their job, but with all the rule changes going on in the NFL, and it's getting harder and harder to play defense, now you pretty much just told them defense does not matter at all, especially come overtime. Because, hey, if you give up a score, your team can still win the game. And, and that's a big thing is now it's like we're going to start seeing absolute, 56-50 shootouts. Do we really want to see that every single week? Once in a while, it's cool. When the Rams and Chiefs did it a few years back, it was a very entertaining game. But I don't want to see that every single week. I don't want to see a 42-41 or 42-38 or 38-31. I don't want to see those kind of games every single week. I want to see a mixture of games. I want to see one that's 45-41. I want to see a game that's 9-6. I want to see a game that's 13-3. And then, throw it in there. I want to see a game that's 24-20. Give me a mix of a little bit of everything. because that is what makes the sport so great. Now, going to a more those that like the rule, I personally have always been a fan of the both teams should get a possession, but I've been a fan of it at the college level, and I don't even agree the way that they did it. Now their overtime rules are completely messed up and stupid, and I hate them. But um, both teams being able to possess the ball. This is why people like the rule. One, it gives us more football because the game doesn't end right away on the first score. Number two, people like seeing high scoring games for some odd reason. People just they get mad that their team can't stop anybody, but then they like seeing 49, 48 games. I don't understand. Like I said, it's great once in a while, but now you're changing the rules to make it feel like college football. College football in itself is different from the NFL. It's special and it's different from the NFL. Now you're making the NFL like college football instead of making college football like the NFL. You're completely changing rules to go backwards. What's next? They're going to put flags on them. They're going to play flag football. I mean, yes, they're already halfway there, but, that's the next step. It's like, why are you downgrading? You are the NFL. You are the biggest industry, sports-wise, in America. Make your own rules that separate you from the other leagues. Quit trying to be, yes, it's a copycat league, but it's not a copycat league to the people who are below you. It should be a copycat league to where you're showing advancements and then college, high school, and youth leagues follow you up. Makes it feel way too much like college football. But fans like it, and the NFL is always going to try and do what the fans want to do. Like I said, I'm personally on the fence about the rule. It doesn't really bother me at all. I don't really care for it. I would prefer that it stayed just a college level thing, and then the college revamp their overtime to make it make sense, because starting at the 25-yard line of your opponent is dumb, and then going for 2-point conversions, which brings me to this. If a team, let's throw two teams out there. It's never going to happen, but let's say the Jets and the Jags are playing in the AFC Championship game. Overtime, it's 24-24. Jets go down and score, they get the extra point, it's 31-24. Jacksonville scores, it's 31-30. It's 31-30 now. Does Jacksonville go for two to try and win the game, or they kick the extra point? I think a lot of the times it's going to scare teams off from going for the win, because they know that they have another deep chance to get a defensive stop. Also, it kind of takes away of the point of overtime, because if a defense does end up stepping up and playing well enough to stop them, and your team gets the back, it's always going to be that way. But I just feel like now they're not going to give them that chance. Defenses aren't going to be as ready to win games because they know the offense will possess it again. So I think from a professional football standpoint, the rule change kind of waters down the game, really takes the emphasis off the defense. Again, I'm on the fence about the rule change. Some people like it, some people don't like it. The NFL doesn't really care what we think. The NFL is going to do what they think is best for them money-wise. And I think there's more people that enjoy the rule that don't enjoy the rule. I'm on the fence. I came on here to talk about both sides. There's really not a whole lot of positives outside of the fans liking high-scoring games. I can't really think of any positives behind it. There's a lot of negatives to it, which are very solid negative points. Outside of there being really more football and more high-scoring games, there's really no positive things to say about it. I don't hate the rule. I think there's worse and, way more petty rules out there in the NFL that the officials call. I don't really care for it. It gives us more football. Doesn't affect me at all. The Lions aren't good, so the Lions will never be in this position anyways, especially because it's for the playoffs only. I don't know why they didn't just do that in the regular season as well. Maybe trying to preserve the people's bodies for the postseason. But why does the regular season have not overtime, but why does the regular season have ties? This is not European football. This is American football. There should be no ties allowed. You play until there's a winner. Which is why giving both teams a possession I can see why people don't like it. If you get the ball first and you score, you played well enough to win the game. That should be it. If teams don't play well enough to win, they don't deserve to win. So if your defense gets up and makes a stop, then you deserve to win. If they don't, then you don't deserve to win. In the regular season, why are we stopping games at a 10-10 or a 13-13 tie or a 20-20 tie? Let them play. Continue to let them play. Do another 15-minute overtime if you have to, and then the next score wins. Why are ties a thing in American football? That's a serious question, and I hope somebody can drop it down in the comments below. Let me know the reasoning behind the need for ties in the regular season. Ties are the NFL's dumbest rule that they have. Ties should not be allowed. Especially because it's just a regular season thing. If you're going to incorporate ties, then you need to incorporate ties in the postseason as well. And if a team ties, you go to another overtime. Why do you just stop it in a tie? It's not like that any other time. In the regular season, you don't stop it. No other sport besides soccer or European football, as they call it over there, is like that. Basketball will play another overtime. Hockey will go to another overtime or a shootout. Baseball will go to extra innings. Why is the NFL the only game that ends in ties when playing with American rules? And then you get to the playoffs, and if teams are still tied after one overtime, guess what they do? Instead of canceling the game and calling it a tie and redoing it the next week, they let them keep playing. Stop with the ties. I know they don't happen very often, but the fact that they still do happen is absolutely madness. It's ridiculously dumb. Enough with the ties. Get them out of the league. Keep letting them play. If you're still tied after that first overtime period, do another overtime. Do a sixth quarter instead of the fifth quarter. If the fifth quarter still ends in a tie, do the sixth quarter and do the same rules that you've been doing. The next team to score, whether a field goal, safety, pick six, or touchdown, ends the game. Overtime in the postseason should be the same way. If you aren't stopping them, you didn't play well enough to win. You don't deserve the ball back. I don't understand what the fascination with the offense is all the time. It's a cool thing for college because it's different and it was for college. But I don't agree that college should start at their opponent's 25. I think they should start at their own 25 or even do a kickoff and have to go the length of the field. And then if both teams want to possess, that's fine. But that's college thing. That shouldn't be an NFL thing. You know, a lot of the diehard fans don't like the rule. And a lot of the casuals, who I don't know why companies continue to cater to the casual viewers, love the rule, while hardcore football fans don't. So I guess you just have to find your happy medium on where you sit with the rule. Again, I'm on the fence. I'm leaning more towards I don't like it because it's going more towards college ball and it makes college ball feel less special. But I also don't mind the rule for the reasons I listed earlier of more football and people like high-scoring games. So yeah, it needs to put more emphasis on the defense. Definitely in video games, I'm a big offensive guy. I will pick the fastest, craziest players with the most wild trick plays. But this isn't a video game. This is real life, and we want to see a good balance. You're just watering it down for the offense even more than it already was, making it even easier for offenses. Gotta stop that. Unfortunately, the rule going through probably takes effect in the next NFL season. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Maybe they lose a couple of viewers and they revert it back, but I guess enough complaining of people not getting the ball in the other person not possessing the ball got the NFL owners to crack down and vote on it. Like I said, if your team doesn't play well enough to defend, then they don't deserve to win anyways. So why are we complaining? If the Bills' number one defense can't stop somebody in overtime, then they don't deserve to win. How are you the number one defense in the entire league and you can't get a stop? You're asked to get one stop, not two, not three, not four, not five. You're asked to get one singular stop. And now the NFL is taking that away and saying, hey, go out there, be decoys, let Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson do whatever they want because your team is guaranteed to get the ball back. Let me know what you guys think below in the comment section. Don't know when I'm going to be back. I should be back on Twitch at some point. I do have a special guest I'm waiting for in the books. It's going to be great. Friend of mine. So just continue to support me and stay with me as bigger things are coming on the channel as well. Maybe another little revamp, not too much, but big things are continuing to come, and just stick with me and let me know in the comment section below what you think of the new NFL overtime rule. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you like me and indifferent about it? What are the positives that I didn't name that you can come up with? What are some negatives that I didn't name that you can come up with? I love hearing the feedback on the things that I say and talk about. I love hearing the feedback and the opinions. So please let me know. Social links are right here. It says YouTube. This will be on YouTube. Twitch. Twitch.tv/TheTrainStationPodcast. Go ahead and give me a follow on there. Like I said, I've done some Apex. I did some Halo Infinite. I'm planning on going back to Twitch again very shortly. But as always, if you missed a Twitch stream, it will be uploaded to YouTube. And I don't know when I'm going to be back or what I'm going to be talking about next. Now that the NFL free agency's finally started to slow down a little bit, maybe I'll pick back up where I left off because there are some crazy things that have gone on in one of the wildest off seasons we've ever had. I did do a March Madness video. You can watch that live on the channel right now. Also live on the channel, all the rest of my content, but the last few that I've done, I did March Madness live on Twitch, and then I put it on YouTube. And then I discuss in length WWE 2K22, my thoughts on it, things that they need to work on, things that are good about it, things that need improvement, and overall how it's a pretty solid game. Go check that out. Other than that, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.